Hi, and welcome back to The Positive Side with Larry and Shar. I'm Larry Rifkin, sitting next to me, the wonderful Sharon. Today we are going to talk about receiving and have a discussion about that. And I think first thing that I'd like to say about receiving and putting things out there is, how we receive things and think about how you give things out, because that's the other end of receiving. And always, when you're putting something out, you put out something with no expectations, not any expectation of anything in return or anything like that, but how people receive either a message or an idea or a concept or a name or anything is something that I think we do want to talk about. And you and I have spoken about this in the past. How we receive things. And one of the biggest things that we talked about was the fact that this is 2013. And when we communicate with...
No.
And you're watching this in 2018, which is just a rerun. No. when in this day and age, where so much of our lives are based on electronics and based on emails or texts or whatever.
Yeah, we are electronically connected.
And then you can't see how somebody receives something. You can't tell, the intent of what you said on the text.
Electronics, amazing that it has allowed us. I still don't understand it. I'm not a techie person. I'm not good with it.
She's doing very well. Trust me, our website is up and running because a lot of what she's doing. So don't buy that. I'm not a techie stuff.
Okay, I'm choosing not to be. I think it's absolutely an amazing gift in our world, and it's come so quickly. I mean, if you look back just 10 years ago where we were with computers and phones and what things we're capable of and what they're capable of now and where we're going with it is absolutely amazing. It's a double-edged sword, in my opinion, just as most anything can be, in the sense of it can connect us with people all around the world. We can learn things that we didn't know about the world, about the universe, about so many things through pictures, through videos, through text, through blogs, through all different venues. And yet, there is a disconnect many times to the emotion behind it and the feeling behind it. Especially, in my opinion, when it comes to something that does not include a visual. Again, you all have heard me say I'm a visual person, so for me that's an important thing, and it's kind of like an additional window. But if I just get a text or an email, I can, based on where I am at the moment, my space that I'm in at the moment, when I click on that and open it, how I receive it, I believe, is based on my emotional space at that moment. And
the law of expectation.
and that hideous word, assumption.
And to illustrate this, as everybody knows, the Amazing Universe broadcasting company, Sharon is my creative partner, my partner with all of this. You and I wrote a text to somebody. And we wrote it coming from a place of, I think we misunderstood, how something worked. Or how somebody was supposed to, and we wrote it with no intention of any bad feelings whatsoever. It was, you and I were looking for clarity, and we do a lot of this stuff together, and we sent it, and we thought it was, it was innocent, is that the right word? Or we thought it was, and the response that we had gotten back, and you remember, and we sat and we talked about it, and you said the magic word, visual. There's no picture. There's no, when I talk to you, I can see your face. I can see your body movement. I can see how you receive something. I can see when you close up against me. I can see when you're open to the world. On a text or an email,
It's void.
Right. There, you don't
It's
have
a void
this.
space.
You can't
So you can
see how
read
the,
and receive anything into it that you so choose. And again, in my opinion, based on whoever's receiving it and possibly who's sending it, but especially we're talking about receiving today, where are you, in what space are you in? And then what I have found can happen is if I have received something incorrectly and I answer, that it spirals.
Snowballs.
Yeah, it spirals. Now, I have to bring this up because this, I think, whoever created this idea may have created it based on it. There's little emotion, there's an app out there for emotion icons now. It's little smiley faces, it's little thumbs up, it's little lips, it's, you know, it's all of these little faces. And I'm grateful to whoever came up with that app, because I was in a text messaging with somebody who means a great deal to me, and this is what happened. We were misreading each other, and he actually knew about this app and came up with it and said, listen, do this. And personally, I feel that it's worked wonderfully, and I feel good. Like when I write the text and I'm in the spot, I'm like, I go through these little emotion icons and I go, ooh, what's the emotion that I want to put behind this? And sometimes you have to be careful, because sometimes I do want to blow a kiss, but I don't want that to be received in the wrong way either. So yet again, we're starting from a place where there's blank text and there's nothing, and somebody else out there, I believe, in this world had the same lack of connection feeling that we're talking about, and created this little app with these emotion icons. So again, thank you for whoever you are, but that is the importance, because people are noticing that that's what's missing.
and I'll tell you, even that, when it comes to receiving, is a, don't take this the wrong way, is a poor substitute. Because sometimes I get those, and I'm not sure if they're meant as sarcastic. I'm not sure
if they're
they're meant,
somebody from New England like me, yes, because we're sarcastic about everything.
And I'm a Jersey boy, so we don't know about sarcasm because we're always so serious.
My father taught me well, and actually my niece, I think, has surpassed me in the sarcasm area. It's a part of who we are.
But we do never know, and when we're coming from a place of receiving, which is what we're trying to talk about, it's not necessarily what they put out there. It's how we took it. And again, you know, if we come from a place of, you know, understanding and compassion, and again, we're void of the visual. We're void of seeing how they're reacting or seeing how they're on their fingernails and would.
Yeah. And many of you have heard me say before that I won't start my day opening my emails.
Yes, you started. I remember when you stated that.
Yeah.
I remember the exact words you used. I'm not going to start my day on somebody else's agenda.
With somebody else's agenda.
That's a direct quote.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
So and there is a method to my madness, because if I start my day opening up an email and I'm not in my space that I need to be in, you know, who am I going to be today, all of the things that I fill myself up with in the morning before I, you know, start my day, then, and I receive an email that may be written in a way that if I'm not in a good place, I'll receive it. That's the way I'm going to start my day. You know, and sometimes maybe you can't reach that person. So then again, what happens to many of us is then the assumptions start coming into our heads. Well, they didn't answer me, so what does this mean? And then all of these monkey chatter thoughts start going, and that can actually spiral out into the rest of your day. 12 hours later, you get a phone call or whatever, and you actually talk to that person, and you've freaked yourself out for the whole day, and then you talk to them, and they're like, no, that's not what I meant at all. So this is what we're talking about. And there's different types of receiving. As people that, we are people of service to other human beings. For me, it's a passion. It's one of the things that lights me up. It's one of the matches that's burning inside of me. So you know, what I do for a living in coaching and creating these videos and the Amazing Universe Broadcasting Company, it is, we are putting out the best of what we know into the world. And that's my intention. You know, I've got people that come on my Facebook page and start putting up things like political things, this, that, and the other thing. I take them down because it's just not the space that, it's just not the information that I want on my particular space. I want my space to be positive. But what I have trouble with as a human being, as a giver, is actually receiving those amazing gifts from other people. You know, somebody that wants to help me, somebody that wants to fill me up with support, somebody wants to give me good. It's weird. It's weird that I have such a tough time receiving that when I know how it feels to give it. And I'll just say this, I have a wonderful friend who shared this with me, and it's made a huge difference. She said, you know, when you give somebody your time and your what you have to say, and you know how they share with you how amazing it made them feel, and you can see that they get lighter and brighter, and there's something good that came out of it. If somebody gives me that, and I refuse, the thing inside of me kind of refuses to receive it, I'm literally robbing them of that same amazing feeling. And so that, just that one little statement really made a huge difference. And I catch myself now, if somebody's doing something for me. I did it the other day. I was talking to somebody and they said something and I was like, first let me say thank you, because I received it. And it can be as simple as that, just saying thank you and acknowledging that you heard what somebody said. But that's another form of receiving, which again, many of us have trouble with. I know I do.
I agree, absolutely. I know. I have been on both sides of that. You know, I've gifted people things, and you know, and if it isn't accepted in the terms that it came from, which if it came from love, then that kind of comes back to me, makes me feel, you know, that number one, I haven't communicated properly, or number two, whatever it is, it's receiving. But you know, it's almost like I want to say, let's do a little exercise, and I don't know how to put this down into an exercise, but I do know how to tell you how I do it. It's funny that everything comes from within us. You know, we believe that. At least I believe that. I know, and I've spoken about this. I do, in my car ride, I do affirmations and gratifications all the time. And afterwards, if I pick up my phone, which is how we get texts. It's actually how we get emails too nowadays. They come across our phone. But I had just finished my affirmations and my gratitude, and I've released, you know, and I feel lighter and I feel better. Whatever's written, I take much lighter, you know, and I take it in a vein of light. Whether it was written with good intent, or they wanted to yell at me, or they wanted to, you know, whatever it is, I take it easier when I go home. And, you know, and I'm dealing with a child right now who is having some health issues, you know, and things boggle me down, and somebody sends me the nicest text in the world. I'm not open to receiving it in the vein that they sent it, because I'm bogged down with my own chatter.
Yep.
My own, the chatter that's going on in my head. So receiving, and I think part of what we wanted to do is a little bit on who sent it, but really mostly, like everything else in this world, it's on our inside thoughts and how and where we are in our day. And if we're coming off of a place where our self-esteem is high and our vibrational frequency is high, no matter what anybody writes or communicates or says or gives, we receive that in one form. And if we just come home and we had an argument with our wife, our husband, something at work, a car accident on the way, and somebody sends us the nicest, we're still not open to receiving. So I think what this comes down to is receiving comes from where we are.
Yeah, I mean, I really think that is very true. And a couple of things that I want to throw into the mix. One, who you are when you're giving something out. If you're giving it out and your intention, whatever your intention is, you know, my intention I always try to set to, you know, be positive and give the best advice that I possibly can, and hopefully it is received that way. However, that's not my responsibility. If my intentions behind saying whatever it is and putting it out there, it is not my responsibility how it's received. It is not my responsibility to try to define it to them, because they're going to create their own definition of what it is. So if you can stay focused on who are you in that moment, what are you giving out, what are your intentions, hopefully they're the most positive that they can be, no matter what it is. I mean, if you're trying to resolve you know, a conflict, you know, as a leader, which we are all leaders, we just need to find it within ourselves. Your intention should always be in resolving what the issue is. Doesn't mean that you have to agree with everything that everybody else says, but what is the best, you know, for everybody and the stake? Because if you're trying to get your point across, they're trying to get their point across, and it's being sent out as almost like bullets, nobody wins in that situation. And trust me, nobody's receiving anything in that situation, because what happens is we get stuck in our heads with our own monkey chatter of, oh, getting my stuff out there. So first off, who are you and what are you putting out? Second off, it is not your responsibility how it is received by the other person or people that you're giving it to. That's not your responsibility. It's any advice that you give in the world, in my opinion. You know, we've got a beautiful table here by Michelle Marks Penn. She's fabulous artist, photographer. And if I put something down on this table, which I think is amazing and beautiful and positive, it does not mean that Larry has to pick it up. He doesn't. And if he doesn't, then he doesn't reap the benefits of it. But my part of it is just putting it out there. You know, if he picks it up, if he receives it, that's his part of it. And one of the things I think that you can learn from to reduce your suffering in the world is thinking that you play a part in how somebody receives what it is that you're putting out into the world. You know, in your heart of hearts, if you're the best person doing the best that you possibly can, Maya Angelou says it all the time, I did the best that I could for what I knew in that moment. Now I know better, I will do better. You know,
absolutely, and you know, we talk about it all the time. We don't control other people. We don't control other people's thoughts. We can't change anybody else. It's hard enough to change ourselves. And again, as Sharon said, it's not our responsibility how something is received. It's our responsibility on how it's put out there, and it's our responsibility on how we receive somebody else's communication, message, thought, or emotion, or don't. But that's within us. What somebody else does, we don't control. How somebody else reacts or how somebody takes something, we don't control. It's not our job to control it. It's not our responsibility to control it. We can only control our side of it. So as a receiver of receiving a gift, we need to take notice of how we're receiving it, if it's resonating with us, and to receive something with an open heart and open mind, and all of that. And our response and what we put out there, that comes from within us. It comes from our heart, from our soul, from our being. But once it's out there, how somebody else receives that, again, is not our control. We can't control anything that anybody else does. We can't change anybody else. Sorry if this is news to you, but it's true. We can't change anybody else. Again, we work on ourselves. And when it comes to receiving, if we're open to the receiving of the emotions, of the idea, of the thought, of the sentence, of whatever it is, with an open heart and coming from a place of not being in a defensive, in a confrontational situation, we have that option. So all we can do is control ourselves and control our
and if we want to tie it in, to the simplicity of, or the magnificence of a cell phone and getting a text, our thoughts are that, you get a text and then you delete it. You get another text, you delete it. It's the same thing with us. If we walk this planet knowing that everybody has their own path, I respect somebody else's path. I don't walk in their shoes. They don't walk in mine. I don't know what's best for them. I'm still figuring out what's best for me. And you come from a place of that, no matter what the circumstances. When that monkey chatter comes up related to whatever the information is that you're getting, because it will come up, lean back out of the monkey chatter and kind of see it here and look at it and go, does this do me any good? And if not, delete it. Delete it from your thoughts. It is as simple as pushing that button. Our brains are actually just like it. They are computers. And do we want to receive it and do we want to store it, or do we want to receive it and delete it?
And again, as receivers, we want to receive it in an open way. What we do with it after we receive it is fine. It's how we receive it and how we take it. Then we get the message, then we choose whatever we want to do with it. We hope this brought you some clarity, some understanding.
We hope you received this.
We hope, absolutely. And it's something that you can use. Please come to the website, www.amazinguniversetv.com. Be part of the community. Give us your ideas, your thoughts. Do all of that. And until next time, remember,
there's always a positive side. Bye.